Okay, just while I just decided to just change this from density to salinity, and I also wanted to show you that the units that the Europeans use is not normal for this side of the world. So I'm going to go into menu. I'm going to pick the density probe. I already changed the name, so I'm going to go into measuring units, and I'm going to pick the probe, and I'm going to pick GS, press OK, and that's done. And come back out, and it's reading 0.9965. It's not in water, so that's expected. So basically that is all programmed in there, and that's how you've got all the probes basically programmed. But now you want to probably start doing some niceties before you start setting up programs. But the main thing you would next want to do, and this I prefer to do it this way: check that everything works first before you do a firmware update. You're not going to lose anything by doing a firmware update as far as the settings. If you're worried about losing it, you can back it up, and I'll show you how to back it up in a second. So first I got to get my SD card. I have my SD card here, and facing with the pins up towards you. Right under here at the back at the slot, you push it in. It goes right up like that. And there's still, as you can see, a bit of it hanging down, but that's fine. Put this back into position here. And if I go to overview, and while I'm in overview here, it's always a good idea to keep Aquatronica updates the firmware in a lot of these the modules that you saw me connect together, like the pH module, the salinity module that the probe screws into with the BNC connector. A lot of those, the firmware is updated from time to time, and it's certainly updated a lot in the SMS module, the dosing pump. So you'll see these firmware versions change. So you can just press export here if you want to export all of your settings, and you'll see it say exporting configuration. And configuration exported. So everything is now saved, and you can also import back the information. Now I should add that the next step would be to update the firmware, and what you would do is you would go to Aquatronica, download the 3 files, and you would either put them on a USB key, a blank USB key, formatted in like FAT32, and you would find that there is the firmware file. You would unzip it, and there's typically 3 files in there. One is for the touch controller, one is for the SMS module, and I think the third one is probably for the lighting, the LED lighting system. You would just write those 3 files, not in a directory, just into the root of the SD card or the USB card, and then you would press update, and the unit will immediately pick up the file and update. It'll go through a process where you'll see it saying that it's reading it, it's writing it, and then finally you see a big smiley face come up, a yellow smiley face come up saying when it's finished, and that's that. And that is the update of the firmware. Now I've already updated this to a beta version, which I was sent by Aquatronica to try, and I can't go through the update again. but it's pretty straightforward stuff. There's no rocket science to it. This unit is supposedly going to be updatable through the internet eventually, and when they come out with the version that does not have the display, that will be the method you'll need to update it. So just wanted to let you know that. So now we've exported our settings, and once we've exported the settings and saved them to the SD card, that's just a precautionary thing if you want to do it. You could then do the firmware update, and once the firmware update is updated, everything will still be there. Everything will be there, but just in case it isn't, you can use the import and get back all your settings. And as I said, the reason I like to do that is because there's no point in going through this process and then finding out that something, Murphy's Law, some piece of hardware was not working right, and from the get-go, and you start wondering and knocking your head, oh, was it the firmware update that caused the problem? This way you'll know it worked out of the box before you did the firmware update. So it's a preference thing. Some people will want to take it out, and from the very first 5 minutes of this video, before they hooked up anything, they would do a firmware update, and that's fine if you want to do it that way. That's just a preference thing. So I'm going to go back out now to the main Aquatronica screen, and I'm going to show you how you can set up these widgets to look a little better on the screen and show you what you want to see in the order you want to see it. Okay?